I want to make something perfectly clear. This is not a complaint about a Republican becoming the 47th president. I voted for Republicans. I voted for Democrats. I voted for independents. I understand that no matter who or what I vote for, there is always opportunity that I might lose. So this is not about the president being Republican. This is a rant about Donald John Trump specifically. Him, his entire adult life, the concept of his very existence. This is a rant about Donald John Trump. Sir, I concede. Not just the U.S. president, I just concede to you completely. Hello, I'm High Heel Knight. I'm just going to run my mouth for a little while, so bear with me. Put this on as like a podcast or, whatever. I'm not going to do any editing. It's like around 11 o'clock on the election night PM, I went to bed because I saw that the Senate was like almost completely half Republican. I was like, oh no, he's gonna win. He's going to win. And the night before, I go on social media and people are saying, oh, Kamala's going to win. Don't go by the media saying it's neck and neck or closer or that. They're just doing that to keep the ratings going. And this expert says this, and this person says this person. I say, yeah, I saw this movie. I saw this movie in 2016. So I would always post on it. Well, there's always the electoral college that could get them over, just like previously with the Republican Party and previously before that with the Republican Party. So the electoral college system is never going away. Yeah. So, yeah, I saw the Senate because it's not just the presidency that's up for grabs. The president can do a lot of things, but he needs, and I do mean he needs, the Congress to help, especially if it's going to be a Democrat, because the Supreme Court's not going to provide much help. Oh, boy. So when I saw that, despite all the nonsense that's been happening, that the Senate was still essentially going to be 50-50, I was like, yep, nothing's going to change. He's going to get back in office. And I barely slept because I normally sleep with music on, but I didn't want to risk some commercial coming up saying who run the race. I tried not to waste time on my phone because I didn't want to click on a link or some pop-up thing comes on and says who won the race because I knew who was going to win it. I wasn't ready for that. So around 6:30 a.m. today, after election, I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'll go on my phone, go open a browser. Didn't matter which browser. I knew it would be the first thing that pops up. And yep, sure enough, says he wins. Got the Senate also. I don't know about the Congress. Doesn't matter. He's got the Senate. He's got the freaking Supreme Court. So it doesn't matter. And I realized, yeah, it doesn't matter because Donald John Trump. I understand now why people believe in conspiracy theories, and I don't mean where you normally think of that are uneducated or, easily manipulated or, lacking information. I'm being people that are actual doctors or lawyers or scholars, people who should know better or understand better, and yet they fall for these schemes and plans and plots. I understand that now because you come into a situation that doesn't make sense. And the only way it could make sense is some type of outlandish thing, because that's what Donald Trump is. He is the embodiment of failing upwards. That's what he is. He fails upwards. I mean, think about if any one of us did 10%, didn't do 10%, was just accused about 10% of what he's been accused of in life. Not just as president, not in the past 10 years. I mean, in his adult life. Being accused of, racial discrimination with, his housing, the womanizing, the failed businesses, and not paying various people, suing anyone and everyone that bothers him, or being sued almost every day. He's being sued by someone. It's like, if we would just did 10% of the things that he's been accused of in life, we would be in jail, we would be dead, we would be ostracized from our, friends and family, society. Just for what he's accused of, like 10%, any one of us, we wouldn't get away with it. If we did 10% of what we know he's done, the womanizer, forget Scorby Daniels, by the way, okay? His second wife is a mistress from his first marriage, all right? He's a womanizer. He's a cheater. He's one of the few men to be on the cover of Playboy. You don't get on the cover of Playboy unless you get with a lot of ladies, all right? So he is a womanizer, definitely. And he's also, been found liable in court or something like that, or whatever, in an actual court case. He's been found some type of responsible, liable, whatever, for sexual assault, and it's like, and he wound up becoming president again. Now, Bill Clinton was accused of a lot of things, and he certainly cheated on his spouse, but as far as I know, he's only been accused. I don't think there's any actual court case in which he's actually been found legally responsible or liable, or or whatever I don't think that he's actually been brought to court about it. But Trump has, and he's been found guilty. And so, like, and remember when he said, when we were talking about his taxes and how he finds ways around the taxes because that makes him smart. If we try to do some of that tax stuff, I'm sure the IRS will not find us smart. So if he did just like 10% of the stuff that we know he's done in life, the people he's not paid, the schemes, the various dealings with other countries, or things like that, we again would be in jail, or dead, or ostracized in life. Think about Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr put out one racially insensitive tweet. One. And she lost her show. A hit show that was revitalized, became another hit show. She puts out one racially insensitive tweet, lost her show. Donald Trump spends years questioning the citizenship of Barack Obama, questioning the validity of his birthing records, and Donald Trump becomes president. Billy Bush has the locker room talk, and I believe it was locker room talk, at least on his end, because as far as I know, he's never been accused of any misconduct. He's just chatting with Trump. It's old footage. This man has, as far as I know, no blemishes on his professional record whatsoever. And he winds up losing his job over an old conversation that they thought was private. He lost his job, but Trump went on to become president. How does that make any sense? How does that make any sense? He has 3 wives, and again, he is a womanizer, yet he convinces a section of the populace that he's this champion of traditional marriage. He inherited over $400 million and went broke and still never had to worry about where his next meal was coming from. Didn't have to worry about keeping a roof over his head. He found a way to continue his lavish lifestyle. He has declared bankruptcy with his businesses, I think, like at least 6 times. And yet he lives in the luxury golf resort, and now he's going back to the White House. He loses the popular vote in 2016, but becomes president. He loses the popular vote even larger, doesn't become president. Now, I haven't checked the popular vote for this time around, but I imagine it's even worse. And if it is, if he somehow increasingly gets more votes against him, then he truly is the least popular presidential candidate in history, 3 times in a row, most likely, and yet he's going back to the White House. And of course, this means that he's going to brag until his dying breath that he should have won 2020 because he so easily won this time around. And think about the women. Think about, you have what should be so simple. There are more women, not just in our country, but in our species. And once that reproductive right was taken away, you would think the Democrats getting another term would be practically handed to them, regardless of who the candidate was, especially since the other candidate is the one that's responsible, because he'll tell you he was responsible for, making that Supreme Court that overturned Roe v. Wade. So you would think the women would just overwhelmingly be enough to get the Democrats another term, along with all the men who have seen their loved ones suffer from it. And then there's just, are we tired of this guy? I mean, I understand 2016, he's radical, he's out there, he's unusual. Let's just try this out. Let's throw a stone into the lake. Let's shake things up. And we shook things up, and it was not fun. I mean, sure, it was fun for some people, but not for others. And I didn't dislike everything that he did. And I didn't want, the Affordable Care Act taken away, but I don't blame him for not doing it. He was like, hey, I'm waiting for the bill. I got Republican Congress. Where's the bill? I mean, he is a convicted felon. Let's think about that for a moment. He is a convicted felon. Can you imagine the founding fathers saying that a criminal, actual criminal, is going to be the next back to the presidency? You imagine the founders saying someone that was impeached twice would get back into office? I mean, that's why I say, that's why I start understanding why people believe in conspiracy, because it just does not make sense unless this was some type of movie. I mean, imagine a trilogy. You got 2016, Hillary Clinton has been working towards the presidency ever since 2000. Well, pretty much ever since she was first lady of the governor of Arkansas. But still, she, becomes Senate, becomes Secretary of State. She's ready to take that next reins, and here comes Trump, pretty much running on a dare because Barack made one too many jokes about him, and he hopes to get a better deal with NBC for his apprentice shows. I'm going to sneeze now. I don't care. I'm keeping it in the edit. Well, I will eventually sneeze, so that means I'm not going to. But anyway, so we have this, and whatever you think of Hillary Clinton as a person, as a spouse, as a politician, she definitely worked her way up. And then Trump, with no political experience in office, no military experience, just gets to the top office, shocking everybody. But okay, fine. Crazy 4 years. He's out of office. We think, okay, fine, he's going to be gone. Yes, he'll complain, but we're going to be done with him. Then the justice system drags his feet to put charges on him, even if it could have been the simple charge of inciting a riot. And then the judge is too much of a wimp to put Trump in jail for violating the gag over 10 times. You're a judge. You're supposed to be able to stand up to criminals, to gangsters, to terrorists, to all types of people. If even like a mayor or a congressperson, they get put on trial sometimes. You're supposed to be able to say to stand up to all of them, and you're just letting this fool misbehave and just finding him, and it's like, and then once he's convicted, it's like, okay, well, I'll just hold off and saying the sentencing, and I don't even know if he actually made a sentencing and put it type of sealed envelope that's not going to be open until later in the month or what. But whatever the case, if it's called for any jail time, I'm quite sure what remains of Trump's lawyers will find some way that he never actually spends any type of time in jail. Or maybe it's just another fine. Maybe it's another one big fine that he'll wave away and probably not ever pay. Or maybe he will pay. Who knows? Think about all the people in his orbit that have suffered because of him for their loyalty. Think about how many people have gone to jail or lost their jobs or lost their licenses. Like Rudy Giuliani is pretty much penniless now. He pretty much owns nothing legally. He had to surrender everything. And I guess his loyalty, at least for him, his loyalty will pay off. Hopefully, he'll be back into the fold with the president. But a lot of other people have been discredited or lost their license in certain states. But Trump's going right back to the office. It has to be a movie. It has to be a movie. Get it back to Clinton. So, okay, so we have this woman, like Sarah Palin, could have been almost vice president, but still, we got Hillary Clinton. She's going to be the first female president. We're all ready for her to be the first female president. So much so that South Park planned a whole season around Hillary Clinton being the president, and then you had to upend and rearrange things because Trump became president. So we got this woman, and then fast forward, we got another woman coming in. Yes, she wasn't originally the nominee, but she takes over. This is groundswell of support and excitement and money coming in, over $1 billion coming in. And so many people that Trump has worked with in his cabinet, on his staff, saying, look, folks, don't vote this man in again. And he not only gets in there twice, but he also defeats a woman into office twice. That sounds like a movie, not real life. Especially a guy who is so immature on social media, so immature in whatever he says. I don't think he understands the concept of saying the quiet part out loud, because he just blurts out whatever he says, and then everybody else has to say, oh, well, actually, he really meant this, or he really meant that, or let's focus on this and focus on that. And it's like, well, that doesn't really matter. Or, hey, and hey, anybody remember Kofefe? Oh, and he's back in the White House. It's like, it feels like a movie. Like, first movie, surprise that the big bad Trump won. Second movie, he's defeated. All right, the rebellion's back in order. But, oh, no, here comes the part 3. You think, okay, this is going to be the definitive defeat of him. He's been impeached twice. He's been convicted of federal crimes. He has rallies that get smaller and smaller. He has an opponent that's invigorated the entire country. He has former staff members just saying, don't hire him again. He's got various lawyers that were loyal to him saying, I'm broke now, or I can't work here, I can't work there, or he's lost so many cases, lost over 60 cases thrown out in court because he was just like, I actually won. The Supreme Court, his Supreme Court, 3 people he assigned on there said, No, we're not dealing with this. Twice. And yet he's back in the White House. It's like a reverse original trilogy of Star Wars. That's the only way it can make sense. We're living in some type of movie. This is not real life. He cheats and cheats and cheats on his spouse. He commits these federal crimes. He doesn't do something as simple as give back those documents. Remember the documents? Just give them back. You're not going to use them. You don't need them. You're not sentimental value. That's where you keep these. Keep things for sentimental value. You think you might use them again, although we know how much you hate actually, reading, memos and stuff like that. It doesn't simply just give them back. And refuses, he ignores them, and people got to get subpoenas and moving stuff around, and it's like, and he still technically right now has other crimes. We're waiting on him to be prosecuted, but that's not going to happen. Either they'll just drop the cases, or when he gets his office, he'll clear himself of whatever charges he can on the federal level, and then he'll just, and whoever's on the state level, just say forget it. But even if we want to prosecute him, we wouldn't be able to prosecute him while he's in office. And then, I don't know, the statute of limitations will expire, or he'll be so old it won't be a point. This has to be a movie, or some type of twisted, or like a prequel to Idiocracy. It just doesn't make sense, man. Again, this is about Donald John Trump. The things he's done throughout his life. How do you squander $400 million and still manage to bounce back from that? Every other day he's being sued or being accused, and it's like, my goodness, I don't understand it. Yeah, so I give up. I concede. Donald John Trump is not human. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean that he is this embodiment of failing upwards. The lawsuits, the womanizing, the tweets, the racially insensitive comments, the way he talks about immigrants as if his grandparents weren't all immigrants and his mother was an immigrant, and it's like his father was a child of immigrants. He just trashes immigrant. He's married to an immigrant. One of his best buddies, Elon Musk, immigrant. And yeah, I know you say, we're talking about legal immigrants. No, some of those immigrants didn't come in properly. They're legal now. They're citizens now, but still, I'm not going to go into the whole thing. The point is, this living oxymoron that none of us would get away with. He talks about Al Capone. Al Capone didn't go to jail for the murders he orchestrated. Al Capone didn't go to jail for all the bootlegging. He went for, his tax evasion, but still, he went to jail. He did get cuffs on. He did spend time behind bars. That is not going to happen to Donald John Trump. He's not going to spend so much as one day in jail. And he's done far worse, other than actually arranging the deaths and stuff. But he nearly did with Mike Pence. He didn't, he didn't order people against Mike Pence, but he wasn't actually all that enthusiastic of stopping it. I mean, if he's such a great former president, why is it that he had to get a different running mate and has to probably get a whole different staffer? The point is, Donald John Trump finds a way to fail upwards. And he's going to become the president again, despite the convictions, despite the bankruptcies, despite the lawsuits, despite so many other people around his orbit going to jail or being discredited or losing their jobs. Someone attention to someone unintentional, all the people he hasn't paid, all the people he's trying to sue just because he's mad at him, losing his inheritance, losing money on casinos, business failure after business failure after business failure after business failure, and yet he's going back. How about the assassination attempt? And by the way, this little segment I recorded after the first recording, so the lighting might be a little different. Again, I'm not... how about the assassination attempt? I mean, I'm glad he wasn't killed. I'm not saying I want him dead, all right? I don't need that man being a martyr. And I don't want people being just murdered anyway. But I'm just saying, think of the margin of error of that. It's difficult to get a shot off a president. It's difficult to get a shot off a former president. This person got a shot connected with flesh, and by mere millimeters, probably at least centimeters, it could have been more disastrous. And all Trump got was a little scratch. This is what I mean by he's not human. He and not as Israel. He's something else. Again, I mean, if you go back and look at that footage, like, it was so close. If just tilted his head in any other direction at that moment, it would have been disastrous. Maybe he would have survived, but it would have been a lot more disastrous than a escape on the ear. And he's not the first, president assassination attempt, but still, it's like that close to disaster, and he's fine. 'Tis but a scratch. This can't be reality. This can't be real. This has to be something else. For some reason, this country can't quit anymore. For some reason, this world can't. So yeah, it has to be a movie, or he made a deal with some type of devil, or he's got a monkey's paw. He's got a genie. We're all into some weird television show, or I don't know. Somebody took the Infinity Gauntlet and snapped and said, let's let's have a story where the ultimate villain wins, even though everybody else wouldn't be. I mean, even Emperor Palpatine did it sneakily. He had to manipulate both sides of the political galaxy. This man just says, kaboom! Guess who stepped in the room? I'm going to do and say all this unpopular stuff. I'm going to take away all these rights and brag about it. I'm going to... I concede to you, sir. Not just as president, whatever you are. You aren't human. You are some type of embodiment of a concept come to life, and I will no longer fight against it. So whatever happens, happens. I'm done. You win. In life. Don't know how. Don't know why. But you are the impossible come true. So congratulations. Yeah. Congratulations. You win. Bye.